So what happens when a real, professional, urban planner decides to use a city building game not just for fun, but as their own personal digital sandbox? We're going to find out. We are diving into a virtual city that was built with a real-world blueprint, one deliberate choice at a time.
And really, that's the big question here. We're looking at a project where every single road, every zone, every policy isn't random. It's a conscious choice, simulating the incredibly complex art of building a metropolis from scratch.
And just so we're clear, this isn't some sleepy little town we're talking about. This is a massive, sprawling city of 200,000 virtual citizens. You know, at that scale, it stops being just a game and it really starts to feel like a true simulation of urban life, with all its messy, complicated, and amazing challenges.
Okay, so let's properly introduce it. Welcome to Manukau Ranges. The planner who built this city saw the game as exactly that. A digital sandbox. It was a place to test out real-world planning methods and see how a city actually evolves under professional, intentional guidance.
So the whole point here, the absolute goal, wasn't just to let the simulation go wild and see what happens. The mission was to create a functional, livable city through careful, intentional design to anticipate problems before they spiral out of control.
But of course, even when you have a pro at the helm, a new city is going to have growing pains. It's just inevitable, right? The moment those first residents move in, the clock starts ticking on managing traffic, sorting out the economy, and just handling the explosive growth.
And here is a classic example that mirrors reality perfectly. Early success led to, you guessed it, massive gridlock, especially around the popular spots. The planner literally described the foot traffic as absolutely nuts. So, the solution wasn't just to build wider roads. No, it was a proactive shift to public transit. Buses, trams, and transit malls all designed to move people, not just cars.
And the problems weren't just on the roads. The city's economy was a bit wobbly at first. You had these key industries that were struggling because they just couldn't find enough highly educated workers. So what did the planner do? They used a real-world economic tool, targeted tax subsidies. By offering those incentives, they attracted the exact workforce they needed to get those offices and industries humming.
All right, so with those initial fires put out, the strategy could shift. It moved away from just reacting to problems and toward implementing a real long-term vision for the city. And this is where that professional methodology starts to really shine.
See, the growth wasn't random at all. It was meticulously planned out in phases. First up, you establish the foundation. Then, develop a dense city core. After that, create a dedicated industrial hub called Huntley. Then expand out into farmland. And finally, build a government district on the Solarian Islands. Every single step builds logically on the one before it.
And this quote from the creator just illustrates the core idea perfectly. In their own words, the city's success is the result of deliberate choices. It's really a testament to the power of having a clear, phased plan and actually sticking to it.
Now, the thing holding all of this together is a transit-oriented philosophy. This is a huge concept in modern urban planning, and it's really all about putting people first. By prioritizing a super-efficient network of trains and trams and buses, the goal was to create a city that never sleeps, a true 24/7 economy where people can live and work and play without ever needing a car. I mean, that makes the city more walkable, it cuts down on pollution, and it creates a way more vibrant community.
And then, something really fascinating happened. A game update threw a massive curveball into the mix. It introduced a brand new mechanic that simulated a complex and, frankly, controversial real-world issue, forcing our planner to adapt on the fly.
The game simulated a version of what's known as white flight. Basically, the more well-off citizens in the simulation started leaving the dense city center for the suburbs, which caused this sudden shock to the housing market. And this wasn't like a meteor strike or a monster attack. This was a complex socioeconomic challenge straight out of an urban geography textbook.
And the impact was, whoa. It was immediate and it was dramatic. You can see it right here. Demand for high-density apartments in the city just cratered. Meanwhile, demand for low-density suburban houses went through the roof. For any city, real or virtual, that kind of rapid shift can be totally destabilizing. It can lead to urban decay, inequality, you name it.
But this is where that professional expertise really paid off. The planner had anticipated this exact kind of risk. They had already built low-rent housing right in the city center, and they put it strategically near major transit hubs. This single move protected the working-class residents, the ones who couldn't just easily move, from being pushed out. It basically softened the worst effects of this huge socioeconomic shift.
So by expertly navigating that crisis, the city was able to get through its growing pains and reach a totally new stage of its life, maturity. Because, as any planner will tell you, a city is never really finished. It just enters a new phase of evolution.
Hitting that 200,000 citizen mark was a huge milestone. Manukau Ranges was no longer just some rapidly expanding project. It was now a mature urban environment, and that maturity brings a fundamental shift in what you need to focus on.
So what's the difference? Well, a developing city is all about greenfield sprawl, building on empty land and just expanding outwards. But a mature city, it shifts its focus to urban renewal. That's all about retrofitting and improving what you've already built. The challenge changes from building out to building smarter.
And believe me, the plan does not stop there. The next phases are already on the map. A massive new port, expansion across the bay, new infrastructure to connect all the outer regions. The goal now is to guide the city toward 300,000 citizens and beyond, proving that even a mature city can keep growing smartly.
And all of this leaves us with one last big thought. This digital sandbox proved to be an incredibly powerful tool for simulating and solving some of the most complex problems our own cities face, from traffic and economics all the way to social mobility. It really makes you wonder, what else can we learn by watching the experts play?